you making some of my big evil guy speech right now or something? You're like a mile away from me right now. There's cars and trucks.
Let me present you with a filmmaking problem. Let's set the scene. You have two super beings. Here's what you know about them. They are adversaries, they're engaged in a fight, and they're here, both up in the sky, high above the populace, and the collateral damage they're likely causing. Here's the question: how do you, as a filmmaker, make whatever happens next interesting? If you're this movie, DC's 2019 coming-of-age superhero movie Shazam, you're probably struggling to answer that question. See, Shazam, which I think is otherwise a very good movie and one of DC's best, left me thinking only one thing. Stop filming superheroes fighting in the air. As a superhero movie has thrust its way into ubiquity, we're starting to see some trends become more obvious. One of them is having superheroes who can fly all the time, or fly while they fight. This on paper makes a lot of sense. You're making a superhero movie with a hero with the power of flight. So put him in the air, right? This isn't really an issue inherently if your superhero is flying and the person they're fighting can't fly. Well, now there's some purpose to that decision. Flying might be an advantage, like Tony fighting Cap. But sometimes you have to pit two airborne heroes against each other. Take this scene from the original Avengers film. Both Thor and Tony can fly. Cap, well, not so much, but these two can. And yet, instead of flying around this landscape seemingly devoid of life, chopping through trees and falling through branches, they almost entirely remain grounded throughout the sequence. The hammer, the strength, the weaponry, the armor, it's all there. They both have the option to leave the ground with all of that and take a position above the action. And yet, they don't. Why? Let's go back to the sequence from Shazam. This is the climax of the film. We know that both Shazam and Savannah can fly. And they do. They take to the skies and they end up here. Problem number one with a sequence like this is physics. What makes a superhero fight, or really any fight in film, fun to watch is what grounds it, what provides the impact. The moments where we can tell how what's happening on film must feel. On the ground, we recognize the physics of what's happening almost always. In the air, not so much. We lose any understanding of momentum or impact almost immediately. So, as Shazam and Savannah go hurtling through the sky, we don't have any sense of speed, weight, or gravity, and so we don't sense any danger. We're unable to recognize threat. When Savannah throws Shazam a mile away, we know he's going to hit the ground, and yet we're not surprised when he gets up and he's just fine, because, well, we don't really understand the impact of that fall. And this applies to their powers as well. As they hover above the ground, we can visualize their ability to fly. We're seeing it, so as they shoot magic in each other's direction, we know they'll either move out of the way, because nothing's stopping them, or it will hit them and they'll be knocked backward into, well, nothing, or maybe into the ground, which loops us back to the first problem. So how much of a threat is this, or even a punch? Better yet, take a sequence like this from Man of Steel. As Zod and Superman go crashing through buildings, fleeing each other through walls, we begin to realize something. None of this really matters. We don't feel the impact again of these moments because, well, they don't. And what happens then is, all too often, when flying heroes are filmed flying and fighting, they become a danger to their world, not to each other. After Superman here flies his way through enough walls, I quickly realize that Zod throwing him into one more might not mean too much to him or me. We don't recognize their movement, and because the film doesn't ground any of it, because the things we do recognize, like concrete, seem to be nothing but plastic hurdles for their flight, it becomes easy not to respect anything that's happening. But there's other problems with fights like these as well. One being the very thing we opened with.
I can fly!
Part of what I think makes Shazam such a great film is that it does a phenomenal job of solving DC's misanthropic obsession with disassociating its worlds from anything remotely fun. Shazam isn't just fun, it's jubilant, and its director, David Sandberg, in his short career has been brilliant. He's also a big advocate for the problem-solving of film. So let's pose another question. What is the only possible navigational outcome of this fight? The ground. See, an inherent problem with the flying fight sequence is we always, and I do mean always, know exactly how it will end. With someone or both of them coming crashing to the ground, maybe through a building, maybe through each other, but no hurdle can change that unavoidable fate. And so all too often, this in-flight action sequence ends up being fluff to pad the fight out, or worse yet, and almost always predictable. Look at Josh Trank's Chronicle. It spends minutes with its hero and anti-hero in the air, hurtling through a city. We get minutes of them throwing each other out of the sky over and over, tossing things into each other, into buildings, flying through concrete, and none of it really feels like it matters to anyone except the civilians watching on the ground, which is why the movie ends up having to ground them for them to take any real meaningful damage, instead of just human hot potato. We know this is how it ends, it has to. So everything before it can sometimes feel boring. Chronicle is another incredible movie, but so much of this moment isn't. That doesn't mean that this can't work, however. Shazam, for example, solves its own problem earlier in the film. There's this mall sequence where both Shazam and Savannah fly around and through walls and stores, but it's intense. You feel every second. Why? Because Shazam, Billy Batson, is trying to escape Savannah. It's a chase. They're flying with purpose, not to kill time. We don't know how it will end because Billy can't yet control his flight, so we also feel its weight as well. Or this scene from Ragnarok. Here, Hela, Loki, and Thor are mid-flight through the rainbow portal to Asgard, two of them not normally being flyers. And then this happens. Suddenly, this mid-air fight has purpose and stakes. We don't know how it will end. We know that Hela has to get there without Loki and Thor, and better yet, we know now Thor is in real danger. He can't fly his way out of this. The moment feels real. Problem solving, as David Sandberg puts it, is the entire conceit of filmmaking. Every scene will have some sort of problem that you as a director or writer have to solve. But as superhero movies begin to take over, it's starting to feel like some of them are less interested in solving their problems, and more interested in flying away from them. Less concerned with solving their way out of those challenges, and more concerned with giving us and them something that's easy to digest. As human beings, we solve the inconsistencies we come across in life through what we know. So here's what I know. I can't fly. If someone was trying to kill me, I wouldn't put them in a bubble before I punched them, and getting hit sucks. And I know that if I could fly, that second and third point would still stand. Do with that what you will. Well guys, that is it for this episode of Nerdstalgic. If you enjoyed this video, press that like button down below. And if you haven't done so, also hit subscribe. That way you don't miss anything I put out. Also, the little bell, the notification bell next to the subscribe button. That just makes sure you're notified every time I upload. Helps me out and make sure you don't miss anything. Two things really quickly. One, I'm actually a big fan of Shazam. So if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. And two, the Patreon is live. If you haven't yet seen my video on what's been going on with this channel, please check that out. That's, I think, 2 videos before this one. It'll explain a lot, especially why the Patreon's happening, what's there, what you're getting. You can find a link to the Patreon down in the description as well. And really quickly, a big thank you to Manscaped, who sponsored this video. Manscaped created the world's first all-in-one manscaping kit that makes manscaping safe and easy. I've been using Manscaped for a while. I was also one of the first to receive their Lawnmower 3.0 water-resistant body trimmer, which sounds ridiculous but works incredibly well. They're an awesome men's brand that's been doing things quite a bit differently than other brands. The Lawnmower has built-in LED lights that illuminate to make it easier to do what you have to do. When you pick one up, you also get 2 free gifts, the Shed Travel Bag and the anti-chafing briefs. If all this seems out of left field, they're actually one of the brands I use consistently and can vouch for through personal experience. Like everyone I work with, I have been enjoying their products for a long time. You can get 20% off plus free shipping, plus those 2 free gifts when you purchase the new Perfect Package 3.0 kit with my code NERD at manscaped.com.